guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this two-piece like a senator. I'm making it for an 11-year-old, but I'm going to be making this here. So the first thing I'm going to do is first put in his shoulder measurement. So as you can see here, I have my fabrics folded into two. You see this one is folded into two, this second one is also folded into two, because I'm cutting both the front and the back together. And then the width I have here is basically his chest measurement divided by 4. His chest measurement divided by 4. And then I added about extra 3 inches to it. Or you can do extra 2.5. It depends on you. And then I also have the length of the top here. So the length I have here is about 29. So now what I'm going to do is to go ahead and put in his shoulder measurement divided by 2. Right, his shoulder measurement is 15 divided by 2, that's going to be 7.5. So I'm going to mark that here, and then I'm going to come down about 0.75 for the shoulder slope, not up to 1 inch, right? Like I said, this is an 11 years old, but you can use this same measurement, like this same method for teenagers, even an adult male. You can still use this for them. So I'm going to then insert his armhole. So for the armhole, all you have to do is their chest measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5. Whatever you get, you insert it here. So for me, that's going to be about 7. And then after that, you're going to go ahead and connect this line to this point. The thing I'm going to do is his chest measurement divided by 4. So his chest divided by 4 is going to be 7.25. So let's say 7.5. And then I'm going to go ahead and insert 1 inch. So I'm going to add 1 inch of ease, because you always want the shirt to be free, and then 1 inch of seam allowance. So that means you can do 2 inches, or you can do, because what I did here is almost 1.5 of ease and then 1 inch of seam allowance. So his chest measurement divided by 4, and then I added 1.5 inches of ease and then 1 inch of seam allowance, because you never want the shirt too fitted, guys, because there's no zip to it, so you want it to be able to fit them. So after that, I'm going to go ahead and do 2.5 for his neckline. And then I'm going to connect it from here to here. And then I'm going to come down 1 inch for the neckline here. This is for both the front and the back. And then I'm going to do 2.5 for the front neckline. So now I'm going to connect this from here. And then I'm also going to connect this from here. So now what I have to do is just to go ahead and cut. So guys, you see, I cut out the shoulder slope, cut out the armhole curve, and then you see the neckline, I cut out the 1 inch for both the front and the back. You see there are 2 pieces of it here, but then I picked up one neckline is where I cut off the 2.5 inches of neck depth. You can do 3 inches if you want it a little bit free on their neck, but 2.5 ideally. But then if you go back and measure their neckline and you feel like you need to expand it more, then you can always come down and do 3 inches. Just chip out a little bit from the neck. So that's basically what I'm working with. And then on this upper one, which is also my front, what I'm going to do is just to go down halfway through this armhole line, which is somewhere here. I'm going to go in ½ inch there, give it a curve from that point here, and then give it a straight line going up. So now I'm going to chip this off for the front, just the front alone. Just this will help the sleeve to relax better. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. And that's basically, guys, like I said, this method works for anybody, but I'm using it for an 11-year-old now. You can use it even for up to a 1-year-old. It's just that you have to change up the measurements. So now I'm also going to go ahead and cut out my slit here, because it's going to have a placket. It depends on you. You can do up to like 9 inches here, but what I have is about 9 inches exactly. So now I'm going to set this aside and we'll cut our sleeve. So guys, now this is what I'm working with for the sleeve. You see, it's folded into 2, and I have 2 pieces of that here. So the length I have for his sleeve is about 7.5, but I added extra 2 inches to it, so to help fold the end and join it to the body. So after that, I'm going to come down here by at least 3 inches. For an adult, I would normally do 4 inches. So come down 3 inches here, and then I'm going to connect from this point here to the top, and then I'm going to find halfway through here, mark it, and then give it a curve below and a curve above. Guys, the width I have here is just his armhole plus about 1.5. His armhole divided by 2 plus 1.5, or you can do plus 2 just to be safe, because sometimes you might notice that it doesn't get to the end. So now after that, I'm going to insert his sleeve width, and then his sleeve width divided by 2, which is 9.5 divided by 2 is going to give me about 4.75. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just make it 5 inches, right? And then I'm going to add 1 inch of seam allowance. If you want, you can also add ease to it, just to make it just so it's not too tight on them. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut my. So guys, basically you cut off this part and then you cut this off, and that's basically it for the top part. So I'm going to go ahead and join it, and then we'll come back and cut the pants. So guys, now moving over to the pants, right? So the first thing I did is to mark 1/2 inch at the top here to use it to join to the band. And I know my band will be about 1.5 also, so I'm going to put that 1.5 below that line here, right? Because my band might be about 1.5 for the band, that's the elastic and all. So now after that, I marked his waist to his hip, which is at 8, and then I marked his waist to his crotch, which is at 9. How you're going to get this crotch is basically their hip measurement divided by 4, or you can put the tape by their waist and mark it down to where they are, to the chair. Like if they're sitting on a flat surface, you put the tape to the waist, from the waist down to where the chair is. Whatever you get can serve as the crotch measurement. So now that I've marked that, the next thing is I came down about, most times for adults is 3 inches below the crotch line that you have their thigh line, but I did 2.5 for him. So now after that, the next thing is his waist to his waist to knee, which is 18, and then after that the pant length, which is at 33. And as you can see, I have a lot of fabric here to fold it with, which is about 2.5 to fold the end of the pants, right? So now once that is done, the next thing I'm going to do is to insert his hip measurement divided by 4, which is 8. His hip is 30 divided by 4 is going to give me 8. So I'm going to add 1 inch to it, right? And then just this 1 inch I'm adding is just for ease, it's not the seam allowance. The seam allowance will come at the back. I'll do the same thing on the crotch line. His hip measurement divided by 4 and then plus extra 1 inch, right? And then connect it this way. The same thing, I'm going to bring this same measurement all the way to the top here, because this pant is going to have an elastic waist. So I've connected it this way. I'm going to give it the curve here. And then once you've done that, the next thing is to go ahead and measure what you have from this end to this end. And guys, if you're thinking how you're going to get the distance from here to the end of the crotch, just whatever you have from this point to the end of the pant, go ahead and divide it by 4. Whatever you get, use it as the extension for this point here. You understand? From this end to here. Then once you're done, take your tape, measure what you have on the whole line. So for me, I have about 11 inches. So 11, I'm going to find half of 11, which is going to give me 5.5 here. I'm going to mark that 5.5 all the way to the end. So guys, after that, you see I've ruled a line all the way in the center here. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do is come down to this thigh line, and then I'm going to do his thigh measurement. His thigh measurement is 18 divided by 2 is 9. So I'm going to take that 9, mark half of it on this side, and then half of it on this other side. So you can also add 1 inch to it, or you can just add like half an inch here and half an inch here. Guys, this thing I'm adding is actually not the seam allowance. The seam allowance is still going to come at the back. This is just for ease because you want it a little bit free, right? So now you do the same thing at the knee. Come to their knee, whatever you have round the knee. So for his knee, I have 15 round his knee. Half of 15 is going to be 7.5. So half of 7.5 is going to be about 3.75. No, sorry, it's going to be, yeah, 3.75 is what it's going to be. Mark that here, and then also mark that here. And then you also go to the ankle part here and divide what you have for his ankle. So for his ankle, I have 10. Divided by 2, that's going to be 2.5 here, 2.5 here. So I'm going to just go ahead and mark 2.5 here and then 2.5 here. But remember, I'm going to just add half an inch here, half an inch here, which I told you guys earlier is for ease. If you don't want to do it half an inch, once you divide whatever, like their ankle, when I divided it by 2, I got sorry, his ankle is 10 divided by 2 is going to be 5. So instead of using the 5 here, I'll just add 1 inch to it and then do 3 inches on this side, 3 inches on this side. You understand? So instead of doing the 5 inches and splitting it into 2 and then doing half an inch by both sides, just once I get half of it, which is 5, I'll just add 1 inch to it and then split that into 2 sides. It will still give it the same thing. You understand? So now what I have to do is just to connect from here to here and here to here. connect all the way to the top. So guys, this is where all the work is for the pants. So guys, what I did here is put in the measurements from their waist to their hip, their waist to their crotch, their waist to their thigh, waist to knee, and waist to the length of the pants, right? Once that is done, you go ahead and for this side now, what you're going to do is their hip measurement divided by 4, add 1 inch to it, and then to get this smaller part, divide whatever you have from here to here into 4, and then that will be the extension. Then for the thigh line, which is like most times 2.5 or whatever, for adults 3 inches most times. For maybe smaller kids, you can do 2 inches or 1.5. It depends on with the age. You can calculate how you want to like change the numbers, right? So I came down 2.5 for him, and then what I did is after rolling this straight line here, I got it by just this crotch line. The measurements here, I divided it by 2, and then I found the center line, ruled it down, and then the thigh line, you just divide their thigh measurement by 2. Add 1 inch to it, and then split it, half of it on this side, half of it on this side. Come down to their knee, divide it by 2, add 1 inch to it, put half of it on this side of the line, half of it on the other side of the line. Come to their ankle, divide it by 2, round their ankle, divide it by 2, put half of it here, add 1 inch to it, put half of it here, and half of it on the other side. That's basically the whole thing, and then you connect it to the end, connect it to the end. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut it, and then we'll move over to the back of the pants. So guys, this is it here. I cut out this part and then also cut out this part and here. So you see, before I started cutting it, I folded the leg here just so that I know, so that when I go to fold the pants, it won't confuse me, you understand? Not like confuse you, it won't, the fabric at the end will be enough to fold the opening of the pants, you understand? Because this end here will be coming up to this point here, and if it's narrower at the end, then you will not have enough fabric to run through the leg of the pants. So now I'm going to take the back panel. So for the back, basically the same width of this fabric, folded into 2, but with like extra 2 inches or 3 inches. So this is it here. So what I have to do now is just to take it, place it on this fabric here. So guys, the only reason I emphasize more on the front is because that's where all the calculation is. The back, all it involves is just adding 2 inches to it. That's it. So you see with my front panel, I placed it on my fabric. You see all the way down to the end here. All I did is extend 2 inches from the center here, 2 inches. I just marked extension of 2 inches from the sides here all the way to the end. This is my seam allowance for the pants. I've also added 2 inches here. But then from the waist of the pants, which is here, I added 1.5 to the top. You see, I went up 1.5 here. So now from that 1.5, I'm going to curve it down in a straight line this way to the end of this pants here. You see the end, just to this point, it blended into the side, just like that. Everything I'm going to cut out. So this side will still remain the same as the front panel, but this side of the back will just have all this extension of 2 inches from this side, 2 inches from here. If it was an adult, maybe I would have done that same 2 inches, but because it's an 11-year-old, that's why I did 1.5 for him, because there's no need for all that. Instead it's going to be too big at the back of his pant. And remember, what we are going for is a pencil pant. So now all I have to do is just to go ahead and start cutting. So guys, this is it here. I've gone ahead and cut it. So all I have to do is just to, I'll give it a dart in front, but if you want, you can just join the two side of the front, the two back panel, and just put it together, put your band on the waist, and that's basically it. It depends on you, but I just want the front to look a little bit fitted, so I might just go ahead and put in a dart, although there's still going to be elastic all round, but just to reduce some of the bulk that will come with it, I might just go back in and put in, because remember, we didn't say anything about the waist throughout this video. The hip measurement is what we're using at the waist, but you know the hip measurement is most times way too much than the waist. So that's why I like to just go ahead and put a little bit of that, just to help pull the waist of the pant a little bit together. instead of cutting it out, just to help pull it together, and then I'll put my band with the elastic in it. So for the pocket, all I do is just to insert a pocket by the side with a fabric, but I already have a video on my channel on how to do the type of pocket that comes with the clothes, right? So I'm going to go ahead now and put it together. So you start with the front panel here, you join the two, you sew the two of them together here, right side facing each other, you join it this way. You take the back panel, you join it, and then all you have to do is now take it together this way, close up the side, close up the crotch, and then you put your band for the waist. So that's basically how you do it. So I'm going to go ahead and couple mine together and bring it back so you guys can see. So guys, once you finish joining everything, all you have to do is just to get your band about 4 inches of width and round enough to go around the waist of your pants. Fold it into two this way, and then join it, sew it around the waist of your pants. And once you're done, you pass your elastic. So that's basically how I did this here. Guys, I have detailed tutorial on how to do different ways, but I just wanted to share this one because people normally ask me if you're making for a teenager, the method, and it's basically the same because I've done this for even if I think I did it for a 5-year-old. So guys, the point is definitely going to be the same method. It's just that you have to change up the measurements. So that's all. This can also work for an adult, like I said. So this is it here. This is the back of the pants. Yeah, this is the back of the pants, and then this is the shirt. Is done. I just used bias and then put in a placket, put in the button, and then folded it up this way. So that's basically. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.